Hello, Eric. Nice to meet you in the OKX community. And could you introduce yourself?
Hi. First of all, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here and to share more about Polyhedra Network with everyone in the OKX community. My name is Eric Vreeland, and I am the Chief Strategy Officer at Polyhedra. I actually met the Polyhedra team a while back when I was working at Layer Zero. I had heard about this team that was building an interoperability solution that utilized zero knowledge. And at the time, the Polyhedra team was working with us to integrate their ZK Lite clients with Layer Zero so that applications developing on Layer Zero could utilize it for security. And I didn't know much about zero knowledge at the time, but I started to dig in and I started to understand how the technology could really revolutionize the space. At the same time, I was also really getting to know the team very well. And I was extremely impressed with their expertise in cryptography and zero knowledge. And it was obvious to me that this was the team that was going to bring zero knowledge mainstream and kind of usher in a new era of blockchain development. So when I left Layer Zero at the end of last year, I got back in touch with the team, and it was really an easy and quick decision for me. We already had extremely good chemistry, having worked together previously, and they were looking for someone to take this incredible technology that they had built and get it into the hands of application developers. For me, I thought that the team was incredible, the product was incredible, the opportunity was incredible, and so I decided to join and have been really excited to be a part of the team and to continue helping Polyhedra grow from both an ecosystem and developer standpoint and also a user standpoint.
Great, interesting, thank you. And biggest part of our community, mostly the traders. And for them, will be very interesting to know more about ZK token. Could you tell us why it could be interesting to hold, to trade, and to use?
Sure. So I think I'm going to start with telling you a little bit more about Polyhedra Network and what we're building. What we're building is the next generation of infrastructure for Web3 interoperability and also scalability, utilizing our advanced zero knowledge proof technology. A lot of people think about us as an interoperability solution or a bridge, and that's where we started. But we're much more than that now. Our ZK Bridge product has been extremely popular, and we believe that the popularity of ZK Bridge will continue to grow because it's incredibly secure, efficient, and trust minimized. And what ZK Bridge does is it supports the cross-chain transfer of assets and data between about 25 blockchains. And this is our flagship product. And our goal is to continue to improve it from an efficiency standpoint and to expand it to support more and more blockchains. In the end, we want developers building on any blockchain to be able to utilize ZK Bridge for interoperability. But beyond that, we have a number of other ZK-related products that we're working on and hope to bring to market this year. All of these products are focused on solving the scalability issues of blockchain. Compute is a limited resource, and zero knowledge is a tool that we can use to unlock massive amounts of compute power incredibly quickly. So now that we've got the background on kind of what Polyhedra Network is and what we're building, I'll get back to your question on the token. So ZK is Polyhedra Network's native token, and it can be used for a number of things. And actually, this is all kind of outlined on our website if you want to visit it at polyhedra.network. Some of the ways that you can use ZK or that ZK will be used for is ZK can be used to pay for any Polyhedra ZK proof service fees. For example, it could be used to pay for ZK Bridge transaction fees. Layer Zero developers and omni-chain applications can use ZK to pay for Layer Zero ZK Bridge DVN transaction fees. The ZK token will also be used to provide crypto economic security to products where it is necessary. One example of this is our trust minimized bridge from Ethereum to Bitcoin. And then lastly, ZK token holders will be able to vote on Polyhedra network governance and on its infrastructure and ecosystem decisions. So as you can see, there are quite a lot of things that you can do with the ZK token, and I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much. And you know that we asked questions to ask to you questions to you by our community. And at this moment we have more than 100 questions. And I want to dive deep to them and ask these questions to you. So, and the first question from the Alex Gio. He is asking what makes your project better than other similar projects? What is the speciality?
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to thank the community again. I think the engagement in just a couple days, coming up with over 100 questions to ask us is incredible, and really excited to see this amount of enthusiasm about Polyhedra Network. And so I really appreciate that. Back to the question, what makes our project better than other similar projects? And I'm not going to go into, talking about specific projects and the differences between those projects, but I'll talk about Polyhedra Network and what I think makes us, the best solution out there for interoperability and scalability. And I mentioned this earlier when I was talking about my story and how I ended up at Polyhedra, but I think that our tech team is by far and away the smartest group of cryptography and specifically zero knowledge engineers and researchers that I have ever met. The team has been researching zero knowledge for years and years. They met while completing their PhDs, focused on cryptography and zero knowledge, and then decided to take that research that they had done and turn that into what is now kind of Polyhedra Network today. They have been, they've authored papers, I think over half a dozen papers on zero knowledge, presenting a number of new proofs and innovations that have led to incredible efficiency and performance gains over previous benchmarks. Some of the zero knowledge proofs that we've invented are called Marlin, Gemini, Libra, Orion, Virgo, and Virgo++. And if you're a technical viewer of this video and you want to get into the weeds on how these protocols work, you can, again, visit our website. We actually have an entire research section of our website dedicated to these proofs that we've invented, and the papers are hosted there, and we have lots of content kind of explaining how they're different than existing solutions. And that, if you want to go directly there, that's polyhedra.network/research. It's one thing to have an incredibly smart academic research team, but it's another thing to be able to apply that research to real world applications. And I think that our team does a very good job at that as well. I'll use ZK Bridge as an example. One of the biggest hurdles for utilizing zero knowledge for interoperability is proof generation time. Proof generation time takes longer than the block generation time, then you're going to have a bottleneck in your interoperability solution. And as many of the viewers probably know, no one wants to sit around and wait for block confirmations or for their cross-chain transaction to confirm. It's not a good user experience. And we didn't want our interoperability solution to be the reason that people were waiting for those transactions. And so our team took the findings from our research and applied these to ZK Bridge so that our proof generation time is actually faster than block generation and no longer a bottleneck. So that's one of the ways that we've kind of implemented this technology that we invented in an academic setting and then put it into an application setting. Specifically speaking to interoperability, I think that there are a lot of solutions out there in the market, but many of them require the trust of some third party, whether it's a validator network or a middle chain. What zero knowledge enables us to do is to offer the absolute trust minimized solution. With ZK Bridge, when a cross-chain transaction is executed, a proof is generated on the sender chain of the consensus and the state of that chain. And then that proof is delivered to the receiver chain where it is verified. All of this is secured by mathematics. So there's no third-party trust assumptions. It's impossible for users, developers, or anyone to create fraudulent proofs. And it's completely reliant on kind of the consensus mechanism of the sender chain. So for this reason, we believe that zero knowledge is the most secure, efficient, and trust minimized solution out there. And we're working on taking our learnings from ZK Bridge and applying those to other areas in Web3.
Yeah, thank you. It's I think it will be interesting to users to know about these advantages. And the second question from Sanya1GG. What are the plans for the future development of Polyhedra network, and what the new functionality may be added?
Well, as I mentioned, on the ZK Bridge side, we're focused on improving efficiency, security, and supporting more chains. Those are our 3 priorities. Beyond that, there are a number of initiatives that we're working on that span beyond ZK Bridge. We're focused on enhancing the Ethereum blockchain by proving the entire Ethereum consensus mechanism, and we're aiming to achieve finality within 1 slot in the near future. We are also dedicating considerable resources to enabling native zero-knowledge proof support on Bitcoin. And this will enhance Bitcoin's utility across other ecosystems like Ethereum and Solana. From a ZK development perspective, we want to make ZK application development as easy as launching a website. So we want to make our technology accessible while maintaining our position as the most efficient in the market. And we envision a future where developers can utilize the full potential of zero knowledge with just a few clicks or a few lines of code. In this vein, we're preparing to launch a few different products that are going to make it easier for developers to build with zero knowledge. Where we have plans for a ZK compiler, our own ZK prover. The ZK prover will support all of the most popular ZK circuit languages. And we're also working on the Polyhedra prover web service, which will be a cloud-based prover platform. Beyond that, we have visions of a ZK VM, ZK EVM, ZK DID, and even a ZK AI products down the road.
Yeah, and maybe you can recommend where people can read more about these features, or it's just like only on white paper?
I would say a lot of these we're going to be putting out information on our blog. That's probably the best place to stay up to date on what's going on. So polyhedra.network is our website, and then you can just click on blog at the top, and all of our content will be there.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And the next question from the user with interesting nickname GG Ash GG Ash S. What sustainability principles does Polyhedra Network incorporate into its strategy to maintain long-term success and growth?
That's a good question. There are really 2 primary areas that I see as critical to the long-term success of Polyhedra Network. The first is continual innovation. So we've already proven that we can continue to push the envelope as far as what's possible with ZK. Efficiencies will come with improvements on the hardware side, but we can stay ahead of the curve by investing heavily in ZK research and innovation on the zero knowledge proof side of things. So we're going to continue to do research into new ZK algorithms and ZK proofs, and we'll continue to publish papers and put out new innovations on that side of things. Beyond just research on ZK proofs, we're also going to continue to explore new applications for zero knowledge. And I've talked about this earlier. We kind of started off in interoperability, and now we see applications in identity and AI. And we want to continue as developers start to discover new applications for blockchain. That gives us opportunities to think about new applications for zero knowledge. And this is going to be particularly useful in areas where massive scalability is necessary and where computation power is a bottleneck. And I think the second area that we need to focus on to maintain long-term success is accessibility. I said earlier, we want to make utilizing ZK for application development as easy as deploying a website. And so in order to do that, we're going to invest heavily in improving the developer experience. So initially, that's going to be through some of the traditional methods, improving our documentation, improving our support, hiring more people to engage with developers that are building with us on Telegram and Discord. But in the long run, we're going to build more tooling that's going to enable the next generation of Web3 developers to very easily incorporate zero knowledge and the products and solutions that Polyhedra Network builds directly into their applications in a very seamless manner.
Yeah, thank you. And the next question from our small developers team, I think that Tatiana for you, and she's asking what the advantages for the apps developer to work with you rather than directly with representatives of the particular blockchain on which it's going to run.
I think that there might be a little misunderstanding here on what Polyhedra Network and specifically ZK Bridge actually does and how it works. So I will take this opportunity to kind of clarify that. We're not meant to replace building on a blockchain. All applications that we work with still have to build their application on a blockchain. Where Polyhedra's interoperability solution comes in is when applications want to build, when developers want to build applications that span across multiple blockchains. And I'll give a couple examples. Let's say someone is building an application where users can deposit collateral on one chain and then withdraw a loan on another chain. This is an application that could take advantage of ZK Bridge to pass the data between these two chains. The application on the lending chain needs to know the state of the data and the state of the collateral on the collateral chain in order to operate as expected. And what ZK Bridge can do is ZK Bridge can pass the state of one chain to the other chain in a secure, efficient, and trust minimized manner so that this operation can operate in the way it's supposed to. If you're not into kind of those DeFi use cases, you can think about maybe a game. The game wants to have the gameplay on a cheap and fast chain, but they want to have their assets live somewhere else like Ethereum, where maybe it's more secure and there's more liquidity. And so developers that are thinking about their game architecture in this way could utilize ZK Bridge to verify ownership of the assets on Ethereum and then share that ownership information with the game on the fast chain in order to unlock maybe certain functionality within the game based on that NFT ownership criteria. Polyhedra is not meant to replace the need for blockchain development, but rather to supplement it in use cases where building across multiple blockchains makes sense.
Yeah, it's great examples, by the way. And I think that the next question is quite the same because it's also from the developers and they are asking, it's Liril Kirill, he's asking what tips and advices would you give to developers looking to deploy their projects on the Polyhedra network, but you just answered a little bit. Maybe you could add something to this.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I mentioned before, Polyhedra Network's not a blockchain, so you wouldn't necessarily deploy it. So the first thing you're going to have to do is, identify, does your use case necessitate interoperability? Is it a use case that spans between multiple blockchains? Or is it a use case that requires large amounts of compute? And that's why I think, you hear a lot of discussion around how zero knowledge will help facilitate development and adoption of AI, because AI takes a lot of computation to run, and zero knowledge can take that computation and compress it into a very succinct proof. But if you do have a use case where you're building an application that spans across multiple blockchains, or where large amounts of computation are necessary, I would say the first step is to visit our website. I've dropped it a few times today, but polyhedra.network. Read the content on the blog, read the documentation. There's a ton of high quality content on our products, how to build with them. Second, if you're not already in our Discord, join our Discord. We have a great community that's very supportive of builders, eager to answer any questions that you may have as you're building your project. And you can also reach out to the team inside of Discord, and there's specific channels for developer Q&A. And then the last would be to reach out to members of the team. You can DM me if you want. My Twitter is @Vreeland, and I think maybe we can include that in the notes for the video as well. I'm very responsive to DMs. I can make sure to connect you to the right person on the team to help you with your application. And I just want to say, this is one of our core focus areas for the coming year. Now that we've kind of, put out our first products and our first solutions, is really focusing on making it easier for developers to build on top of them. And so we're going to continue to invest in developer materials and tooling to make it even easier for developers to utilize zero knowledge in their applications.
Yeah, thank you for these advices. And we have next question from Fedor Richkov. He is asking about what innovations in terms of technology, what you just told about that, is Polyhedra network preparing to introduce to improve the performance and reliability of the network?
Sure,
Maybe something to add.
I touched on this earlier, but I have I can get a little bit deeper on this. This is something that we're constantly working on. We want to continue to improve the performance and the reliability of the network. I think last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, we made significant optimizations to ZK Bridge that brought the cost of the fees down by about 50%. So anytime we can find improvements like that are going to either make it cheaper for users, faster for users, more secure, more reliable, just because we put the product out there doesn't mean that we stop developing. We're constantly trying to improve our products. On that note, we are exploring more opportunities for cost improvements. And one of the ways that we're thinking about that is through the batching of transactions. And we're always working on improvements to the underlying zero knowledge proofs themselves. From a reliability standpoint, we are thinking about how we can decentralize the proof generation so that anyone can generate the proofs. And this will significantly improve performance and reliability. And I just want to say, that although we are working very hard and very fast on kind of bringing these improvements to the public, to developers, and to the users of these applications, our number one priority is always security. And so when we are developing, we have to be very deliberate and cautious when we're introducing new improvements to the platform. We want to make sure that our code is audited sufficiently, that we've performed significant testing. And so we'll never release anything to the public before we are confident that it is 100% secure, and only then will we release it publicly. So that may be why, it may take a little bit longer for some of these improvements to come out publicly, because we want to be certain that it is as secure as possible.
Let's go to the 7th questions, if I'm not mistaken, from Leto Jared 1488. And he's asking, what specific solutions does Polyhedra offer to address scalability and performance issues that often arise when building dApps on different blockchains?
So a lot of people associate zero knowledge with privacy. And that's not actually what we primarily use zero knowledge for. In the case of Polyhedra, the primary advantages of ZK proofs is compression, and that leads to this scalability. So we're able to compress large amounts of data into succinct proofs that can be mathematically verified. This is why so many different L2s are embracing zero knowledge as a way to scale the Ethereum ecosystem. And so we want to take those same characteristics and apply it to other aspects of blockchain development. We started with interoperability, but any application that necessitates large amounts of compute can be improved by utilizing zero knowledge. And in our case, we have a number of zero knowledge proofs that we've invented internally that take this scalability to the next level. The next step for us is making it easy for developers to build products on top of the technology that we've built. And that is kind of, as I've said a number of times here, really one of the main things we're focusing on.
Thank you for your answer. And we have one more question from the user with name Anna DNFT, and it will be our 8th question. How is Polyhedra going to interact with other projects in blockchain ecosystem to expand its audience and increase its market presence?
We work very closely with all of the blockchain teams that we're live on or that we plan to be live on. In order for us to launch on a new chain, we have to have a complete understanding of the consensus mechanism of that chain so that we can build the zero knowledge proof that verifies consensus and does so in this trust minimized manner. So one of the benefits of working closely with those teams is it gives us the ability to identify projects that may have a need for our interoperability and scalability solutions. So we're always excited to meet new projects. Sometimes we get introduced to them from the blockchain teams themselves. Sometimes they reach out directly to us because they see an announcement that we're now live on a new chain. One of, I guess, a recent example of this is when we published our work on expanding to the Bitcoin ecosystem. We had a number of projects that reached out to us to inquire about how they could work with us to bring interoperability between the Ethereum ecosystem and the BTC ecosystem. So we're always excited to meet new projects. Again, if you're interested in working with us, join our Discord, reach out to me on Twitter, follow us, follow Polyhedra ZK on Twitter, because that's where we make all of the announcements about where we're when we're launching on a new blockchain. And if anyone is interested in talking to us about the benefits of zero knowledge or to help them integrate our solutions into their products, and we're always happy to help.
Great information. And next question, I think that similar to this about it's from Grigory Grachov, and he wants to know about plans to add support for new network in the future, such as Blast. Many bridges are having problems transferring to from this network right now. High fees is one of them.
Yeah, so our goal is to support every blockchain. We want to be everywhere that people are interacting in Web3. Blast is definitely on our roadmap. Solana, the Cosmos ecosystem are other areas we've identified for expansion. Again, it just takes time, but we're always happy to get feedback, to hear from our community, where they think our interoperability solutions would be valuable, and to understand kind of the needs and so that we can more effectively prioritize our resources to best support, the needs and desires of the community. In the near term, I just talked about this, but our next big ecosystem that we're going to be supporting is Bitcoin. I think that's going to be huge. There are so many BTC users, so much liquidity that isn't interacting with a lot of the applications that have been built in the Ethereum ecosystem. And I don't think that these two ecosystems necessarily need to develop in isolated environments. I think that there are a lot of advantages to unlocking interoperability between them. So stay tuned for that, because we're going to have a lot more information around the work that we've been doing on that front. And then after that goes live, stay tuned for kind of more networks coming in the future. We're definitely working on it.
Yeah, working with blockchain network is blockchain Bitcoin network. It's super excited news that I didn't know about that, that you're working with this network too, really. Thank you for your time. And before the end of our AMA session, I want to ask you such interesting question. Could you sell the idea to our users of Polyhedra network for the 60 seconds?
Absolutely. Most people, when they think about Polyhedra Network, think of us as an interoperability solution, but we are much more than that. Our goal is to accelerate the adoption of Web3 by dismantling the barriers imposed by traditional computing power limitations. We want to unlock use cases previously seen as infeasible or impractical due to compute constraints. We have and will continue to create ZK algorithms that are secure, lightning fast, and universally compatible. Our flagship product, ZK Bridge, has become incredibly popular because of its security, speed, and cost, but most importantly, because it embodies the core principles that blockchain was founded on. Zero knowledge has allowed us to create a bridge without introducing any additional trust assumption. If we settle for solutions that have additional trust assumptions, then why are we even building or interacting in Web3 in the first place? But beyond ZK Bridge, our technology is going to help propel the space to the forefront of computation and scaling. We're excited to work with developers to build innovative applications that were previously seen as impossible. We want to revolutionize how people live, work, play with blockchain and zero knowledge. We believe that the future belongs to zero knowledge and infinite possibility.
Thank you so much for your time, for this super great information that I think could be very useful for developers, for our community, and for everyone who will see this video somewhere on YouTube, maybe on Instagram or something like that. And I think that more to come and more interesting projects we will see in future. At this moment, we launched our jumpstart with the Polyhedra. Also, there are a lot of interesting events on Cryptopedia on Web3, and also we launched in our region interesting promo for trading ZK token. So you can just trade, hold, use, develop, and have a nice time with all of this information. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a blast. I really enjoyed it.